Madison, I want you to divorce my son.
Excuse me? What's going on? Divorce all of a sudden?
Oh, it's nothing to be surprised about. I've always thought you and Logan should have separated long ago.
Wait, but why are you saying that so suddenly? Could I at least ask for a reason?
A reason? It's simple. Now that I'm done taking care of my husband, you're no longer needed.
No longer needed?
That's right. I never supported your marriage with Logan from the start. You're plain looking, don't seem well educated, and honestly, I couldn't find a single good thing about you.
I see.
But back then, my mother-in-law needed care. I just wanted anyone to marry into the family to help with that. So reluctantly, I approved the marriage. But honestly, the idea of living under the same roof with you was unbearable. Then my husband fell ill, and I had to take care of him too. And so, for 28 years, we just dragged on as a family.
So in short, I was just a convenient caregiver for you, wasn't I?
That's exactly it. With you around, I didn't have to lift a finger for housework. But now, I can finally kick you out. From here on, Logan and I are going to live happily together.
So you just used me for your own convenience and now plan to toss me aside. After 28 years of dedication, this is too cruel.
And so what if it is? A wife only needs to serve her husband's family, right? I've let you fulfill your role as a daughter-in-law, so you should be grateful for that.
Grateful, you say?
Exactly. Well, since you're a stay-at-home wife with no skills, you'll probably be lost after the divorce. But that's no longer my problem.
How can you say something like that? And what about Logan? What does he think? You can't just decide on a divorce by yourself.
Oh, I'm sure Logan feels the same way as I do. He probably only sees you as a convenient housekeeper.
Is that so?
Listen, you've got 1 month to divorce him and move out of this house. If you drag your feet or try to stay, I'll have you forcibly removed, throw out all your belongings, and change the lock so you can't get back in.
Do you actually plan on taking it that far?
I'm sick of seeing your face. That's all I have to say. Goodbye. Madison, Logan and I are at an Italian restaurant right now. Since today's the day you're moving out, I figured we shouldn't get in the way of your packing. Oh, by the way, just to confirm, you finalized the divorce paperwork, right?
Yes, Miss Jones. Or rather, you're no longer my mother-in-law, so I'll just address you as Carol.
I don't care what you call me. So, haven't you moved out yet? Hurry up and leave. If you're still there when Logan and I get back from dinner, I won't tolerate it.
All my moving boxes are packed, and I'm just waiting for my ride to arrive.
I see. You've been married to my son for 28 years. I'd heard all your family passed away during that time, leaving you with no relatives. But I'm surprised you managed to find a friend to give you a ride. That's shocking. So, when are you leaving?
I'll be gone in 15 minutes.
Oh, really? Well, if you're even 1 minute late, I'll kick you out immediately.
No need to worry about that. In fact, I'll be out of here not just 1 minute, but 1 second earlier. And I'm already waiting outside by the front door.
What? Wait, are you seriously standing outside with all your luggage? And in the rain, no less?
Yeah, good thing the porch has a roof.
How long have you been out there?
I've been out here for about 10 minutes.
What? At least wait inside the house. All that stuff piled up outside is bound to confuse the neighbors for sure.
Now you're worried about appearances? This house is already infamous in the neighborhood for having a wicked mother-in-law who mistreats her daughter-in-law.
What?
Everyone knows how you dumped the caregiving for both your husband and your mother-in-law on me, made me do all the housework, and then kicked me out the moment the caregiving was done by forcing a divorce.
What are you talking about?
They also know you made me work nonstop from morning till night, and if the food I cooked wasn't exactly to your taste, you'd yell, "How dare you serve me this trash? You're a failure as a wife." That was a daily occurrence, wasn't it?
That's because your cooking was awful.
And let's not forget how, while I was taking care of your husband and mother-in-law, you'd say things like, "Can't you even do that right?" Or, "What's the point of you being here?" every single day.
Well, caregiving was your responsibility, wasn't it?
Even when I was sick in bed, you'd say, "You're my daughter-in-law, stop whining." Or, "If you can't do the chores, get out of this house," and blamed me.
That's just what's expected of a daughter-in-law.
Making me go grocery shopping and cook meals when I had a fever over 104 degrees? That's beyond unreasonable.
Well, it's your fault for not taking care of your health.
And yet, when you catch the slightest cold, you make a huge fuss, whining about how miserable you feel.
Shut up! Being older is just part of life for me to catch a cold now and then.
And let's not forget how every time the relatives came over, you'd make fun of me. I still vividly remember you calling me the most useless one in the family. There's no way I'd ever forget something like that.
You're so petty to hold on to little things like that. What an awful personality.
Oh, look who's talking, Carol. Even when you mocked me, calling me a defective caregiving robot, the neighbors heard all about it. They'd look at me with pity and say things like, "Madison, it must be so hard being bossed around by such a monstrous mother-in-law." What, you didn't know?
Madison, what have you done? Seriously? I can't believe you would spread such obvious lies to the neighbors just because you're feeling sour about the divorce.
You seem to be misunderstanding something. I haven't done anything at all.
What?
It's just that your orders and insults toward me were always so loud, Carol. It seems the neighbors overheard everything and put two and two together based on your behavior. That's the real story.
Lies. That's all lies.
If you think so, why don't you ask the neighbors yourself? Your yelling was so loud it echoed outside and became a public nuisance.
No way. This is unbelievable.
It might be hard to accept, but it's the truth.
What are you talking about?
It seems my ride is about to arrive. I'll be ending this conversation now. I'll leave the keys in the mailbox.
Wait!
I married Logan at 26, the same age as him, after a formal matchmaking meeting. It's been 28 years. And 28 years since I started living with you all. I must say, I endured it well.
Madison, wait! Don't leave the house yet.
Oh, wasn't it you, Carol, who told me to leave? You even said if I stayed 1 minute past the time, you'd throw me out immediately.
At least leave after telling the neighbors that the whole mistreating the daughter-in-law thing isn't true. I can't bear the thought of living with everyone misunderstanding me as a monstrous mother-in-law.
Misunderstanding? Isn't it the truth?
Anyway, I'll be home soon, so just wait.
Oh, looks like my ride has arrived. Well then, take care.
Wait! Stay there until I get home.
Sorry, I'm already in the car.
What? What's with that luxury car? Wait a minute, Madison. Didn't you just pass by me earlier? Madison! Well, it's possible I mistook you for another person. There's no way you, a stay-at-home wife for 28 years, could afford to ride in such a luxury car or have those kinds of connections. Even the divorce settlement I gave you was barely enough for temporary living expenses. But still, I clearly saw it with my own eyes. It was definitely you sitting in that passenger seat. Hey, what's going on? Madison, stop ignoring me. Explain yourself. Madison, did the move go smoothly?
Yeah, thanks to spending the past month sorting through my things, the move went without a hitch.
I'm glad to hear that. Still, the way Mom reacted was something else, wasn't it? Not telling her about your grandfather was definitely the right call.
The luxury car showing up at the last minute really shocked her, though. It wasn't planned, but it felt pretty satisfying, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did.
I was so busy with the move I hadn't checked my phone at all. But Carol called me repeatedly and left a bunch of messages.
She must have been really shaken up. When she saw that luxury car, her eyes went wide, and she just stood there in shock with her mouth open.
I can totally picture that face.
Well, we'll let my uncle and the others sort it out.
By the way, how's everything on your end? Are you okay?
Yeah, for now. It's just 2 more months. In 2 months, Uncle Jack, who's been overseas for work, will retire and come back with his family. That's when Mom's plans will completely fall apart. We just have to hang in there until then.
Okay, I'll be waiting.
Logan, please, pick up the phone. What is it, Mom? I'm at work right now. There was this massive truck parked outside the house earlier, and I thought it was strange. Then I realized it was a moving truck. They started unloading furniture and appliances one after another into the house. I was so confused that I asked the movers what was going on, and it turns out it was Jack's stuff. Oh, and? And? Isn't that strange? Why are Jack's things being delivered to our house? He's been living overseas with his family for over 10 years now. Oh, didn't I mention? He's coming back today with his stuff. What? Coming back? Why is he suddenly coming back? I thought Jack planned to stay abroad permanently. It's not sudden. He mentioned it when he came home for Christmas. He's retiring and moving back. Didn't you hear him say that? Retiring? Yeah. Uncle Jack is turning 65 soon, you know. Oh, I forgot he's already that age. You forgot your own brother's age? Anyway, Uncle Jack worked for a major trading company, and after being assigned overseas, he became the head of a local branch there. He was originally in a department that focused on international business, and his work was recognized, so he was chosen as part of the founding team for the local branch. Later, once the branch was running smoothly, he stayed to train local staff, which is why he ended up staying there for over 10 years. But he decided he wanted to spend his retirement back home. So he's returning now, just in time for his retirement. Did he ever mention all that? Mom, didn't you look at the schedule stuck on the fridge? The fridge? Schedule? Uncle Jack handed us a schedule during Christmas, remember? We put it on the fridge and agreed to plan around it. I don't remember anything about it. Don't tell me you didn't even look at it. I thought you were taking things too casually, but I didn't think you were completely unaware. What? What do you mean, what? You're the one who suggested using the fridge as a message board in the first place. Oh, well... Mom, you're always out and hard to reach. You don't answer calls, And even when you read my messages on WhatsApp, you don't actually read them properly. When I complained about it, you said talking in person or texting on WhatsApp was a hassle. And you were the one who suggested using the fridge door as a message board. Don't you remember?
Well, I guess I just never got into the habit of checking it. Besides, I'm barely ever home.
That's true. You're always out and about every day. Every morning, you're at the gym bright and early. Then it's lunch with friends, followed by shopping or cafe hopping in the afternoon. Then at night, you've got club activities, parties, or something else. So you're always home late.
Exactly. I'm busy. I don't have time to look at a message board on the fridge.
Busy? That's all just you having fun. Even when you're home, you're either watching videos on your phone or chatting with friends, and you never look at the messages on WhatsApp. You just leave everything on read.
That's because I find long messages annoying to read. And honestly, it's your fault for not making the messages more interesting. If they caught my attention, I'd read them.
No, Mom. Important messages don't need to be entertaining. And you're the one who said reading them was annoying and suggested the message board idea in the first place.
Yeah, I guess I did. But even if you stick notes on the fridge, I forget to look at them.
Forget? You're never home to look at them in the first place. And yet, you always call about things you think are important and complain if I don't reply immediately.
Well, when I need something, I expect a quick response.
But your important stuff is always things like telling us about your plans last minute or asking for a ride after a party.
Yeah, maybe that happens a lot.
But still, at least use the message board you suggested, okay?
Hey, what do you mean we're moving out to make way for Jack's schedule?
Like I said, this house is under Uncle Jack's name. When he retired and came back, we were supposed to move out, right?
What? What do you mean this house is under Jack's name? You're joking, right? Wasn't this house under your late father's name?
Seriously? You don't remember, huh? This house was built by Uncle Jack for him and his family to live in. But since he was constantly relocating for work, he let us live here instead. Back then, we were still living in an apartment, remember? But Uncle Jack told us, when the time comes and I need it, I'll want the house back.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You probably just forgot. Both you and Dad agreed back then that when the time came, we'd move out.
Did we? But we've been living here all this time. I thought Jack had decided to give the house to us.
We were able to live here because Uncle Jack was away on a long overseas assignment. But now that he's retiring and coming back, he needs a place to live, right? This house is under his name, so we have to give it back like we promised. That's just the right thing to do.
No way!
So, when it was decided that Uncle Jack would return, my overseas assignment came up too. I told you to discuss your future plans with Uncle Jack, remember?
What? Now you're going overseas? I haven't gotten any news regarding this.
No, it's not that you haven't heard, it's that you forgot. It was written on the schedule stuck to the fridge too.
Important things like that should be told to me directly.
I'm pretty sure I told you more than once. Because it was important, I first told you directly. But you looked annoyed and didn't seem like you were listening. So I made sure to write it down and stick it on the fridge as a reminder.
Wait a minute. I'll go check the fridge. Logan, you were right. Jack coming back, your overseas assignment, they were all written on the message board on the fridge.
See?
But you're already in your 50s. Isn't an overseas assignment too much of a burden at your age? There's no way I could go with you. Living abroad in my 70s would be absolutely impossible.
People in their 50s are still very active these days. And it's a company order, so I don't have a choice.
But why now?
At your age, shouldn't there be more stable domestic positions available? There are various reasons. Actually, my company is launching a new business. It's a project targeting the overseas market, and they needed someone familiar with the local culture and economy. That's why they reached out to me. Still, aren't there younger and more energetic people they could have chosen? Why you? Sure, there are younger people, but many of them lack experience. The company values the skills and connections I've built over the years, so they chose me to lead the project. The success of this project is critical for the company, so they wanted to entrust it to someone reliable with a proven track record. Also, this project has been in the works for 5 years. Even back then, they considered me the best candidate, but I declined at the time due to family circumstances. Family circumstances? Yeah, I couldn't leave because I was helping take care of Dad and Grandma. At the time, it wasn't possible for me to be away from home. Ah! The truth is, Madison took on almost all of the caregiving by herself, but on my days off from work, I wanted to help out as much as I could. If I had gone overseas back then, she would have had to handle caregiving even on my days off. Honestly, it would have been great if you had helped, Mom, but you left all the housework and caregiving to Madison while you spent your days having fun. That's because housework and caregiving are a daughter-in-law's duties. No, they're not. Housework and caregiving are responsibilities the family should share. That's why I made it a point to stay home and help out whenever I had a day off from work. Now that the caregiving is over, the opportunity came up again, and this time I decided to accept it. But are you going to be okay on your own? I'm not on my own. Madison is already there waiting for me. Madison? What do you mean? You divorced Madison, didn't you? There's no way your ex-wife is waiting for you overseas. That's got to be a lie. It's not a lie. The divorce was only temporary. Temporary? What do you mean by that? Besides, Madison living overseas? That's impossible. She's just a housewife. She can't do anything other than housework and caregiving. Mom, can you please stop underestimating and belittling Madison already? What? Sure, Madison was a full-time housewife because she was busy with caregiving for Grandma and Dad, as well as housework. But she graduated with top honors from a prestigious university and has always been a studious person. I've never heard about it. That's because you never bothered to really get to know her, Mom. Back in her student days, Madison was at the top of her class and highly regarded by her professors. If that's true, then why would she choose to be a housewife? It's because we started living together with you. She was asked to take care of Grandma and ended up taking on all the household responsibilities, so she couldn't continue her job. In that situation, working outside while also caregiving would have been impossible. But even before we got married, Madison had studied abroad. Studied abroad? Yeah. She got a scholarship for top-performing students and spent 6 months at a prestigious university overseas. She's fluent in several languages, and after returning, she worked at a major international company. She was thriving in her career. That's why I wanted her to keep working after we got married, but she chose to support our family instead and decided to become a full-time housewife. I see. And yet, you kept mocking her, saying she only became a housewife because she wasn't smart enough. That's because I didn't know Madison had such an impressive career. I told you all of this, Mom. You just didn't listen. And let me tell you, Madison isn't the type to let things end like this. To prepare for living overseas, she started taking online foreign language classes. And despite her long career gap, she quickly got back up to speed. But how are you going to afford it? Living abroad requires money, and Madison's been a full-time housewife all this time. She doesn't have much savings, does she? That's true. And now we're getting to the main point.
The main point?
First of all, 3 years ago, Grandma passed away. Then 4 months ago, Dad passed away, and Madison's long caregiving duties finally came to an end. At that point, you decided she was no longer needed and pushed me to divorce her.
That's because she really wasn't needed anymore.
Well, here's the thing. Madison's maternal grandfather is a very wealthy man. Around the time you brought up the divorce, her grandfather approached her about a living inheritance.
What?
Apparently, Madison is the sole legal heir to his estate. To avoid any unnecessary disputes from relatives without inheritance rights in the future, he wanted to settle everything clearly while he's still alive.
Wait, there was such a plan?
We had a feeling a story like this would pique your curiosity, and you definitely want to dive in.
Of course! Anything belonging to a daughter-in-law should be considered part of the marital family's assets. As her mother-in-law, I have every right to have a say in it.
See, that's why we divorced.
Excuse me?
From both the general and legal standpoint, neither you nor I have any right to interfere in this matter. We should only get involved to the extent that Madison asks for advice. With that in mind, to ensure the living inheritance process went smoothly, I decided to use the fact that you kept insisting on the divorce to our advantage.
Use it?
Once we were divorced, we became strangers. Even you, Mom, wouldn't be able to meddle in the inheritance matters of someone who's no longer family, right?
What? Logan, you're not saying...
That's right. I've been on Madison's side from start to finish, and when the time is right, I plan to remarry her.
Why...
Madison told me that the only reason she endured your relentless mistreatment and saw the caregiving through to the end was because she was grateful for the countless words of appreciation she received from me, Grandma, and Dad. At one point, I even suggested living separately, but she refused, saying that as long as she was taking care of Grandma and Dad, she wouldn't consider it. How could I ever abandon such an admirable wife? If anything, I feel like I owe her a great deal, and I plan to spend the rest of my life repaying that debt.
No way! Then what am I supposed to do from now on?
That's why I've been saying you should talk to Uncle Jack, now that he's back, and figure out your future plans.
I can't believe this. I never thought it would turn out like this.
It's too late to regret how you treated Madison, but I hope that regret helps guide your future decisions and way of life for the better. Well, goodbye.
Wait, Logan. I always assumed you'd take care of me when I needed caregiving in the future. But now you're going on an overseas assignment? That's a problem. Logan!
Madison, sorry for messaging you at this hour. I know there's a time difference, so you're probably asleep by now. But I'm heading to the airport and catching a flight to you. Just wanted to let you know.
Thanks, Logan. I figured you'd text, so I stayed up waiting.
I see. Thanks.
By the way, how's Carol? Is everything okay on her end?
Yeah, more or less. I left the house right as Uncle Jack's stuff was arriving. I just said my goodbyes through WhatsApp.
I see. She must have been sad hearing you were leaving for overseas.
Yeah, a bit. But it's fine now. We've lived together for such a long time after all.
That's true.
Madison, I'm sorry for all the hardship I put you through. I relied too much on your kindness, leaving all the caregiving and housework to you.
Logan, you don't have to apologize for that. I can't count how many times you've all had my back. I'm super thankful for every one of you.
Yeah, but let me say it anyway. Thank you for everything you've done so far, and let's keep supporting each other from now on.
Of course, I appreciate it. I feel the same way.
All right, I'm about to board the plane.
Okay, take care on your way.
Thanks.
After moving overseas, I haven't had any contact with Carol. However, according to Logan, she left the house shortly after Uncle Jack returned. This is because Uncle Jack, who hates dishonesty, learned from Logan about how she had mistreated me as her daughter-in-law for years. As soon as he arrived, he confronted her saying, "We can't have someone who bullies their daughter-in-law and son living here. Leave." And that was the end of it. Apparently, arrangements had already been made for her to move into a nursing home covered by her pension. On the morning of her move-in date, she left the home she'd lived in for so long, nearly in tears, unable to protest. Since moving in, she's been living lonely days with no family visiting her. She often complains to the nursing home staff saying, "I gave so much to my family and now they've abandoned me." But considering how she spent years neglecting her family and living only for herself, it's hard to see this as anything but her own fault, isn't it?
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and leave us a comment down below. It means a lot to us. See you next time!